Hey everybody, Alex Kazora, SteelersDepot.com, back with some Pittsburgh Steelers tape breakdown and analysis. First game post-Matt Canada for the Pittsburgh Steelers. First 400-yard game of the post-Matt Canada era, something that Canada did not do during his 44 games as Steelers OC. So, Eddie Faulkner, Mike Sullivan, the interim offensive coordinator and play caller, respectively. What changed about this offense? Let's talk about it. Before we get into the tape, if you guys could like this video, subscribe to the channel, and check out the site SteelersDepot.com, I would appreciate that. Buckle up, going to be likely a longer video today, as I'm sure you guys can tell by the timestamp on this. So, off the top, I just want to say, no one should act like Pittsburgh's offense was dramatically different. You're in season. Canada's out on Tuesday. You install your game plan on Wednesday when players come back to practice. You get Wednesday, Thursday, Friday practice, Saturday walkthrough, and probably a ballroom in Cincinnati, something like that. You're not changing your entire offense. You're not putting in a whole new scheme and brand new concepts and all this kind of craziness. Anyone who says otherwise just does not understand how the NFL works with these midseason changes. But you still can tweak things and add things and take things out and lean on things and just work off what you have. And that can be a different vision from a different person. So there's value in that. What I want to talk about today, what I really want to focus on, is 4 areas that I saw some, to me, substantial differences under Faulkner and Sullivan compared to Matt Canada. And they're going to be personnel groupings, use of motion, concepts, and areas of the field. Just broad terms to talk about some of the things I noticed that look different and things that worked out well. So we're going to go through things one by one. Let's start with personnel, and specifically 13 personnel. What is 13 personnel? It's 1 running back and 3 tight ends and 1 wide receiver. When you talk about personnel groupings, 11, 13, 22, the first digit always represents the number of running backs on the field. The second digit represents the number of tight ends on the field. And because you can only have up to 5 eligible, skill players, whatever is left over tells you the number of receivers on the field. So 13 personnel, 1 running back, 3 tight ends, means you have 1 receiver out there. And that's something Pittsburgh almost never did under Canada this season, despite having 3 talented tight ends in Darnell Washington, Connor Hayward, and Pat Freiermuth. And granted, Freiermuth had missed a lot of time, but Rodney Williams had been playing and in 1 game out snapped Darnell Washington. And so there were, opportunities to do that. They didn't have Deontay Johnson for a lot of the season either. A point is, coming into this game through weeks 1 through 11, Pittsburgh had only used 13 personnel 7 times in non-kneel down situations. 7 times the entire season. I don't yet have the exact number on the number of times they used it against Cincinnati, but it was a lot. It was probably more than 7. I'll update this post either while editing or a comment in the video below with the exact number once I get our charting from our Tom Mead, who does the offensive charting for the Pittsburgh Steelers for Steelers Depot. So what I liked about this was you can run the same concepts out of different personnel groupings, which is the mark of any good offense to me. So to finally get into the tape here, looking early in this game against Cincinnati, Pittsburgh's going to run their Zorro toss, which they have been running for the last many weeks. We've talked about that some on the site, I believe here on the channel as well. And it's taken from the Shanahan-McDaniel playbook, this motion here from Connor Hayward to double the defensive end with the tight end before working to the next level. And this has been run a lot out of, probably 11 personnel, 12 personnel. Here you're getting it out of 13. And what I like about running it from 13 is you get this crackback block on the linebacker. And instead of asking a wide receiver, usually Allen Robinson, to do that, you're going to get a tight end like Pat Freiermuth. And we're going to go from the other angle here to show you guys. Here is Freiermuth. He's going to crack down on the linebacker. I just like having a tight end do that more so than a receiver who's not as apt to block, not as big, not as strong. Freiermuth is not a tremendous blocker, obviously, but out in space, that's a good crackback on 57 on Pratt. It's actually a really good block by Freiermuth. So just to run your Zorro toss from 13, a different personnel grouping, you like to see it. Now, it's not a tremendous run here. There's some other issues probably on this play. They got good linebackers, Logan Wilson making the tackle, but I just like the idea of, hey, let's go into 13, change up the personnel, but run the same plays. Same play, run Zorro toss. a dozen times this season, probably more, but a new grouping, a different look. So it looks different for the defense, but it's the same for the offense. Different example, again, 13 personnel. We'll look at the aerial view. Plays about to start here. 3 tight ends and 1 running back. So there's your deep back in Jalen Warren. 3 tight ends in Darnell Washington. We're going to see Hayward come across on the Zorro motion action. And there's Pat Freiermuth. And Miles Boykin also getting a lot of burn in 13 personnel because of his size and blocking ability. One other kind of wrinkle to mention there. So again, getting the crack back. Instead of a receiver doing it, we're going to have the tight end do it instead. You're getting the crack block on Pratt. Freiermuth works at the second level, gets a piece of the other Bengals defender. It's a solid, 5-yard run here. Again, not fantastic, not 40 yards, but a successful run. And I just like the idea of let's get a tight end out there to do some of that dirty work as opposed to making a wide receiver do it. So the Zorro motion here from Connor Hayward, going to work on the tight end initially and then climb. But just seeing, Freiermuth, it's not anything mystical, magical, to quote Tomlin, or anything that's, super, get you out of your chair. But I just like the little things like this. Just have a tight end help out, works on Pratt, and works to Wilson. Wilson makes a tackle, but it's a 5-yard gain. And I'll take that all day as Pittsburgh continues to run the ball very well. As I mentioned earlier, Pittsburgh had used 13 personnel just 7 times this season. They had run the ball in 6 of those 7 instances, and so they had a pretty easy tell about running the ball out of 13 personnel. So again, just simple things like let's pass out of 13 personnel. Let's kind of have some tendency breakers where we've been known as when we get into 13 or certain looks, certain groupings, we're going to do X or Y. We're going to either run or pass. Let's mix things up. So again, 13 personnel, 1 receiver to the top. That's George Pickens. You have 2 tight ends to the bottom, Freiermuth, Washington, Hayward, split out wide, so it's a 2-by-2 look. There's Najee Harris, and we're going to throw the ball. Looks like run. You got your run people in. When Bengals are in their base defense, they see the tight ends come onto the field. They say it's 13, probably going to run the ball, put in your big people. Let's throw out of it. Now this pass incomplete, potentially maybe a penalty here. Pat wanted it at the bottom. Their legs get tangled up. I think that's a good no call, to be honest with you. But again, it's not necessarily about the results. It's just let's do something different. Let's break our tendencies. Let's pass out of 13 and get the matchup here. I would have maybe preferred Kenny Pickett hit the check down to Najee Harris with the defense expanding. Although this, I think, came late in. No, this is second quarter. This was late in the half. But regardless of the actual outcome, I just like the process of let's pass out of 13, present something different to the defense. And so in their scouting report, Pittsburgh does not have the tells that they've been really giving teams throughout the season. All right, let's look at a pass that worked out of 13 personnel. And again, 3 tight ends to the bottom here in Washington, Freiermuth, and Hayward. Boykin to the top. So you're getting this interesting 3-by-1 look here with the tight ends all to one side. Now Hayward's going to come across. It becomes 2-by-2. They're going to utilize a running back screen. And Pittsburgh, for the longest time, has been a miserable screen team. The Browns game was an adventure, a couple of good plays, but a lot of mess as well. And it's a 15-yard gain to Jalen Warren. So again, passing out of it looks like run, got all the big people in. I like getting Hayward out in the slot, so he's not trying to do inline blocking, which is not his thing. Everybody knows that. And it's a good screen play. And good downfield blocking, too, by Hayward and even by Miles Boykin. The good blocks here from Hayward, the block here from Boykin. The lineman, pursuing and at least trying to, get in the way a bit. James Daniels does on this play. But again, it's just about let's do something different. Let's break our tendencies. Let's pass out of 13 personnel. Heck, let's use 13 personnel. We have these talented tight ends who can make an impact, and you're seeing a combination of those things in this game. Now let's talk about motion. And I did a video most recently for the site prior to my recap of the Bengals game, at least about motion has to come with a purpose. Everything you do as an offense has to come with a purpose. I had the example of Allen Robinson just getting his cardio in, running sprints back and forth against Cleveland. And you're just kind of wondering, why are you zigzagging your 30-year-old possession receiver around when everybody knows he's not going to get the football? And so I just thought in this game, just one example of it, 2 plays to show. I'm sure if I did a bit more, went back to the tape a dozen times, I could probably pick out some more things. But just third quarter here, motioning Allen Robinson in the slot, the insert block here between tight end and tackle, gap scheme. James Daniels pulling right to left. Good run here from Jaylen Warren. So we're not going to talk too much about this play, but I just want to show it to you to show the next play in a couple of snaps here. So again, insert block. Pittsburgh's done this before, done it a million times this season. Robinson, their big slot guy, their blocker. It's well blocked. Good job by Robinson. Washington, Daniels, hard run by Warren. You get a solid gain out of it. I note that play to note this play. So a couple of snaps later, it's 1st and goal at the Bengals 5. This is the Najee Harris touchdown. Robinson, again, going to have the insert block, but they're going to dress it up a little bit differently, as opposed to just motioning him and then he stands there for a couple beats between tight end and tackle, where it's kind of going to, you know, this is going to be an insert block. They're snapping the ball as he's still in motion, and so Robinson might at least give the defense the thought he might be motioning out wide, like they're going to play fake and run into the flat and they're going to boot to him or something like that. Instead of him just being static on that insert block, he's now in motion on the insert block. And you get the touchdown here as Harris bounces outside. Pratt wanted the holding call. They threw the flag, picked it up. I don't know what happened. I'll take it. But just something different overall. Again, instead of just standing there statically like before, they're going to still have the same exact block, still the same insert block, but they're going to dress it up a bit differently overall. Against, I think it was Houston in week 4, they had run at a pistol and an insert block with Robinson, and then like 3 plays later did the exact same motion in the same formation, and Houston blew it up, and I think Warren fumbled, and the whole play was a mess. So just doing little things like this. Again, it's not crazy, and for probably 30 other offenses, it's like, yeah, duh, of course you do this stuff, but for Pittsburgh, it is refreshing. The insert block, but just dressing up the motion instead of just motioning, and then you stand there, and then you block, you're motioning, and snapping the ball on that motion. Robinson comes up through, Harris finds the lane, bounces this one as the corner really came down hard on this one, and it's a touchdown for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'll even mention this play. It's not directly the same, but it's in that similar vein, at least. Allen Robinson, fullback alignment initially. He's here in the slot. No real motion, but you're going to get him coming across, and instead of running the ball here, let's just boot into the flat and pick up, I think, 11 yards on this play. So just small stuff like that. Sequencing plays well. It's not the same exact thing. It's not this pre-snap motion. That would have been a really probably better apples-to-apples comparison to make, more analogous, but just again, working off concepts. He ran the insert block with kind of the more static nature of it, then you ran it off a motion, actually twice in this game with Robinson, and then you're booting off of that, hitting him in the flat for 11 yards for Allen Robinson here on this play, and a first down. So just adding things, layering things, it's what good offenses do. Next, I want to talk about concepts, and I just felt, even before Matt Canada, to be fair to him, Pittsburgh's offense didn't have enough concepts. Routes were too independent of each other. It was kind of a just go win the route and make the play, and that probably worked better when you had Ben and AB and Martavis and Juju and, just supreme talent that could win out 1v1. Not the case for Pittsburgh right now. There's talented receivers, of course, in Johnson, Pickens, etc., but you just can't be that kind of basic and static. And I just saw some more concepts in this game, getting guys open, scheming guys open, and to me, the big thing I wanted to see was putting some defenders in conflict, making them make some choices. Am I going to cover this guy, or this area of the field, or that area of the field? And the quarterback is going to read off of it. And I'm so bummed this was not a touchdown, because this is a great concept here. You're going to get this, and Dave Bryan talked about it on the podcast today, this Dino, I don't know how to pronounce it here, this double post concept. Robinson on the post, Johnson on the post against a single high safety. He's got to make a choice here. Am I covering Robinson on the post, or am I going to cover Deontay Johnson on the post? Now, Robinson, kind of the more immediate threat. He takes him. That leaves Johnson 1v1, who burns the corner, the rookie. A great route, great stem, great job at the break point to create space. Pickett puts it on him, maybe a little bit behind, but I think he's trying to throw it away from where the safety's at there. But obviously Johnson did not complete the catch. Corner came in, knocked the ball out. Could have been reviewed, could have been challenged, but putting all that aside, just the concept of we're putting the safety in conflict. Am I taking this guy? Am I taking this guy? Wherever he goes, I'm going to go opposite of. He takes Robinson. Johnson is open. Again, should have been a touchdown. Very disappointing it was not. And of course, Warren fumbles the next play. You get no points out of it. But just the concept of it, this double post concept here in the red zone where, it's condensed, space is tight. You got to really work extra hard to get guys open. It's a great job here. Just the unfortunate results of negativity that hurt Pittsburgh in this game of why they only scored 16 points, but I love the concept here. I will say under Canada, I thought the best thing he was doing was some of the work out of bunches and stacks and free releases, so this probably is not brand new to Pittsburgh. It's not. In fact, I know it's not brand new to Pittsburgh, but some third down ways to get guys open. So 3rd and 5 here for Pittsburgh. Bunch look to the bottom, 3-by-1, 3 receivers to the bottom. Freiermuth reduced split, this kind of backside nub to the top. So Calvin Austin going to go in kind of this return or orbit motion, see the cornerback go with him, might signal man coverage, and you're going to get the free release here with Johnson on the out route for this conversion on 3rd and 5. So again, the bunch creating the free release as he's going to run underneath. The Bengals have to pass this one off and distribute the bunch look here. That creates space for Austin, I should say, excuse me. Pickett puts it on him, and it's a conversion on 3rd and 5. Pittsburgh take away that final kneel down. They were 8 of 16 in this game on 3rd down, 50%. They were 26% on 3rd down the 2 weeks prior combined. And so a big turnaround on 3rd down. And in these kind of weighty big moments, 3rd down, red zone, late game, late half, that kind of stuff, you want to be able to scheme your guys open. Calvin Austin is schemed open on this play. 3rd and 6 in a 7-3 game. Bengals lead. You want to get more than just 3 points here. And so again, similar idea. Stack to the top, 2-by-2, Freiermuth motion behind Pickens, and Freiermuth will run the out route and really kind of running almost behind, shielded by Pickens here to create space as he breaks to the outside. The cornerback really has to kind of work hard to come over the top or try to come underneath this one, I should say, and he's trailing, and it's a really nice ball by Kenny Pickett to put this one on him, away from the defender, but not leading Freiermuth out of bounds, and it's a conversion on 3rd and 6, and then Pittsburgh goes down. They get that Najee Harris touchdown that we just showed to take the lead and hold that lead for good. So again, simple things like that, 2-by-2, going to have this stack here. This cornerback has to fight through it. By the time that he does, Freiermuth on this kind of speed out, makes the catch. It's a 1st down. Later in the game, facing 3rd and 8. So again, we're going back to those weighty downs, those big moments of the game, and Pittsburgh comes out and empty. So what they run here, I call it Hoss-wide juke. Other people might call it something else, but to me, this is Hoss-wide juke all day. And the Patriots made this famous. They won Super Bowls off of this with Wes Welker and Julian Edelman and Rob Gronkowski down the seam. And so I'll put up on screen right now what Hoss-wide juke is. If you draw it up, it's basically this mirrored concept with these slot receivers running down the seams, the outside receivers running these curl stop routes to hold the corners to create the one-on-one coverage down the seam, and then kind of an option route by number 3 over the middle, usually your best route runner. In this case for Pittsburgh, Deontay Johnson. For New England, it was, again, Welker, Edelman, etc. So outside here, you can get Warren and Austin. They're going to run these kind of curl stop routes. The slot receivers, number 2 receivers, will be Hayward and Pickens. They're going to run down the seam. And then Johnson, number 3 here, the innermost receiver to the bottom, is going to run this option route and try to get him on a linebacker or a mismatched corner or something like that. If you think back to T.J. Watt's interception against the Rams in Week 7, this came off a Hoss-wide juke when he stepped in front of Cooper Kupp. That was their top route runner running that option route over the middle, that wide juke. And picked off Matt Stafford. So to run this one through, you're going to get to the bottom, Pickens on this slot fade, seam route. You're going to get Austin on the stop route to the bottom. And actually, I should correct myself. It was to the top. Warren is running the vertical route, and Hayward's running the stops. Maybe they kind of tagged this one differently on this play. And then you got Johnson over the middle on the linebacker. Great ball there from Kenny Pickett. Great track and catch by George Pickens. But again, creating the matchup, scheming that up 1v1 against a single high safety. Stop route's going to hold the corner, getting 1v1 on Mike Hilton, who's a quality corner, former Steeler, a really good player, but giving up a lot of size to George Pickens in this one. He cannot find the football. It's a 43-yard gain to George Pickens on 3rd and 8. That sets up another Pittsburgh Steelers field goal. So just looking at the route concept and scheming guys open, to me, Hoss-wide juke gets it done for Pickett to Pickens on 3rd and 8 late in this game. Finally, yes, let's talk about the middle of the field. Now, I was a little less obsessed about hitting the middle of the field than others. I just wanted more people than just Johnson and Pickens to catch the football. I wanted a better distribution of targets. I wanted the passing game to run through your 2 outside guys. They're your best guys. But I just wanted, those other guys to catch the ball more, and Freiermuth certainly did, and they did, of course, hit the middle of the field, and I'm not mad about them targeting between the hashes and the numbers. I'm certainly not opposed to that. So the very first play of the game, play action, get the false ski by pulling the left guard, Isaac Seumalo, around. Bengals playing cover two, split safety look, deep half responsibility. Freiermuth bending his route inside. Pickett puts it on him for a 24-yard gain. So right out of the chute, sitting there saying, we're going to make this play. We're going to, hit this area that we have not been targeting really hardly at all. It's a good ball. It's a good scheme. It's the right look. Coverage dictates that's where the football is going to go. And it's a 24-yard pickup on 1st and 10 in the first play of the game. 3rd and 13 for Pittsburgh, the following possession. And again, it's going to be Pat Freiermuth down the seam. We're going to get cover 6 on this play, it looks like. We're going to get this quarter-half concept. Cornerback clouding to the top. Deep half responsibility. Quarter. But again, kind of this more too-high split safety look. Freiermuth open down the seam. 29 yards on 3rd and 10. So that is just a good play there. It's a good throw by Pickett. It's a good read. But, coverage will dictate if middle of the field is open or not. If it's cover 1, it's cover 3. You're not going to throw it there against that single high post safety. Against these, cover 2, cover 6 looks, it's going to be open. And Pittsburgh hit it in this one. There was no question about that. I'll just show one more example. I did an article on Steelers Depot on Monday that kind of went through a couple more plays from the middle of the field perspective, but just to kind of round things out here. Pittsburgh, 1st and 10. They're going to go out with 13 personnel again. So we're talking about passing out of 13 personnel. Bengals playing soft zone coverage. Darnell Washington, 5-yard curl. Show the quarterback your numbers. Pickett hits him. Gets upfield with the size and power. It's a 10-yard gain. It's a 1st down. It's a little messy, Washington stumbling a bit here as he breaks, but who cares? It's 10 yards. And so to be able to just, utilize Washington on something other than just a boot flat, which is what he's been catching the couple of receptions he has all season, is a good way to just make easy reads for the quarterback and, playing against soft zone coverage, taking what the defense is giving you. And by the way, just should note here, getting this fast 4 action from Jaylen Warren out in the flat. That's been popular around the NFL this season. This is the very similar or same concept Pittsburgh ran against Cleveland last week, where Jaylen Warren caught the pass in the flat, immediately had 3 Browns attacking him. It was a disaster of a play. This one, much better results, execution. To be fair, the Browns were bringing this, cover 0 blitz before, and the ball had to come out hot. The Bengals are not giving that look here, which makes this one easier, more time for Pickett to go through his routes, but just same play, but better result from Canada last week to Faulkner and Sullivan this week. One last look. So to recap, things I saw from Pittsburgh's offense under interim OC Eddie Faulkner and play caller Mike Sullivan that I either didn't see really any of or didn't see as much under Matt Canada this season. Better personnel groupings, a lot of 13 personnel, which was highly effective in this game. I think a more strategic use of motion and building off of that and layering motion to do different things or the same thing in a different presentation, which is really important. Better concepts, especially on 3rd downs, those weighty moments. You still saw some mirrored stuff, 2x2. That's, it's still the Canada playbook at its core, but just better concepts on 3rd down to really scheme guys open, and then just utilizing different areas of the field between the numbers, between the hashes. In the NFL, between the hashes matters a bit less. The hashes are narrower in the NFL than they are in college, but again, just utilizing more of that area between, say, right here and right here, and getting Freiermuth, of course, involved a ton. 9 catches for 120 yards, career highs for him, and it's a win for the Pittsburgh Steelers. So the question is, why only 16 points? And that's valid. That number has to change, and there were too many missed opportunities. Still too much negativity for Pittsburgh offensively with some sacks and penalties and fumbles and not completing that almost touchdown to Deontay Johnson, and being 1 of 4 in the red zone is not where you want to be. And the Bengals defense has struggled this year, so you want to add that caveat as well. But I saw strides, I saw efficiency, I saw fluidity, I kind of saw a rhythm in this offense I did not see before. Kenny Pickett getting the ball out on time at the top of his drop, things that weren't as evident in previous games. So a lot more to talk about, I'm sure, with this offense. Maybe we'll do another video on it, but I think I'm all out of breath here, as you guys can probably tell. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Appreciate you guys watching. Please please subscribe to the channel. Would really mean a lot to me. Also, please check out SteelersDepot.com for a ton more content your way. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll talk to you soon.